This is from Rolling Stone. Why Kamala Harris lost and why it wasn't close. Americans are deeply dissatisfied with the brutal economy and punish Democrats over it. And Democrats will blame
everyone but themselves.
Third-party voters. They won't even blame the right, man. They're just going to blame like anyone that didn't vote for them, which is anyone who voted for anything other than them.
Yeah.
Voted for the guy with the worm in his brain? There you go. Now you got one that just doesn't have a brain.
It happened again. Democrats lost a winnable election to a racist, orange makeup wearing carnival barker, despite his odiousness, immorality, and unbridled corruption. This time, Donald Trump campaigned on an even darker agenda. The mass deportation of migrants, calls for more violent policing, and demands of retribution against his enemies. And he didn't have to try to steal the election in the courts or a violent coup. In the battleground states, he appears to have run the table, and he will likely win the popular vote outright, something Republican hasn't done in 2 decades.
Oh, ouch, I didn't know that.
There are plenty of factors that could help explain why Vice President Kamala Harris lost, and why the race ultimately was not that close. Joe Biden's crushing unpopularity, pervasive sexism, racism, and xenophobia, an American culture that stupidly valorizes the ultra-wealthy and licks their boots. There was the Harris campaign's decision to run a safe, staid campaign from Democrats' favorite failed playbook, be like Republicans. There was her refusal to break from Biden over his support for Israel's war in Gaza, carnage that plays out on our screens daily and has particularly affected young people. The most likely explanation, however, for why Harris lost is the most basic one. Americans are deeply dissatisfied with a brutal economy. After Washington put an end to COVID-era pandemic aid programs, Americans suffered 2 years of sky-high inflation, affecting the price of nearly everything alongside higher interest rates, which drove up credit card rates, mortgage rates, the cost of car loans, and more. Amid a punishing cost of living crisis, voters have now punished Democrats. Exit polls and other survey results coming out of the 2024 election are incredibly clear that this contest was, as often the case, about the economy, stupid. Edison Research exit polls show that 2/3 of voters, the state of America's economy is poor or not so good. 69% of them voted for Trump. Asked what the most important issue in their vote was, 31% of voters said the economy, and 79% of those voters voted for Trump. The Fox News voter analysis survey results often offer similar findings. 63% of respondents said the state of the economy is poor or not so good, and 68% of them said they were supporting Trump. Along with 39% of respondents who said the economy and jobs are the most important issue facing the country, 60% said they were backing Trump. Similarly, 40% of respondents said the single most important factor in their votes is the high price for gas, groceries, and other goods. 64% of them said they were supporting Trump.
Okay. I'm just wondering how people think like Trump means cheap. Well, just because he's cheap and the stuff he sells and does is cheap doesn't mean he's going to make things cheap for us.
Let's be real. They're not going to learn. If they didn't learn before, they're not going to learn now.
Hey, either the Democrats.
We got to just make fun of their fucking economy as much as we can.
The Democrats aren't going to learn either.
No, they're not.
Watch them prance Kamala back out there next year. Dude, not next year. You know what I mean? Next
they won't
election.
even do a primary, you think?
I would.
People are just like, there's not going to be another election. No.
Well, even King Koopa has a Mario that knocks him down. Also, I'm going to kind of, no offense, be surprised if Trump makes it through his presidency alive.
Yeah, true.
So, he's a walking heart attack waiting to happen.
Pretty much.
But all his doctors said he's free.
Mm-hmm. There's good reason to distrust that Trump's 2025 agenda will financially benefit the average American. His plan to impose widespread tariffs on imported goods will raise prices for consumers. His plan to preserve his tax cuts for the rich and further slash the corporate tax rate will ensure once again primarily benefit the wealthiest Americans. Trump has promised to give a top administration role to the world's richest man, Elon Musk, who pledged to impose major spending cuts that would involve some temporary hardship. But Americans enraged about the economy were not voting for Trump's economic agenda in particular. They were simply registering their disapproval of the state of the economy as it stands today.
Does he know what a temporary hardship is? Because I would gladly take your worst day on my best.
It's funny. He wants to give Americans austerity while taking subsidies for his businesses.
No. He wants to help all the people in North Carolina while making them pay $400 for a satellite dish, and then what is it, $200 something a month that they're automatically enrolled in. And by the way, if you don't have internet service to be able to connect to it, you also have to have your electricity to be able to get your satellite dish to work, to connect to the internet, to get cell phone service. You probably have a house with electricity and don't actually need it at that point. Yeah. Oh, it also takes like a week to get there to you unless you have like the best UPS plan.
We covered this.
I know. I'm just throwing it out there now that he's going to, make America great again. Was he here when America was great? Or was he over there getting blood diamond money?
That he was.
That's right.
America was never great. This election cycle, there has been a prevailing wisdom among some Democrats and the broader pundit class that Americans are wrong to think the economy is bad. In fact, it's great. Why the gloom? Perhaps folks are misremembering their own financial situations during the Trump era. Don't people know that inflation has finally slowed? Have they seen these GDP growth charts? Early on in the pandemic, the U.S. Census Bureau started asking Americans questions about the state of their household, including whether it's difficult to pay typical household expenses. When Trump lost in 2020, the percentage of Americans who said it was difficult to pay for their bills was around 34%. The figure climbed until Congress passed new pandemic aid programs, at which point it dropped considerably. As those aid programs came to a close, the percentage of Americans struggling to pay their bills spiked, and Biden's approval ratings fell. Ending pandemic aid, combined with inflationary price hikes and higher interest rates, created a financial disaster that has not ended. As of September, 37% of Americans reported having difficulty paying their typical household expenses, a slight uptick from earlier this year. That brutal financial reality created a brutal 2024 political environment for Democrats and helped Republicans deliver a knockout blow.
It is what it is. Let's watch the world burn.
Yeah.
What do you really say?
I mean, Democrats just suck. Neoliberalism is dead.
The two-party system doesn't work.
It's been dead. 1992 called. They want their presidential strategy playbook back. Yeah, you have to run left policy. They never will do it. They're never going to do it. But you have to run to the left. They're not going to do it. The only way to fight this right-wing populism bullshit is the left. Yep. We have to actually have somebody. Let us have someone and don't kill them automatically. Please. For once.
CIA, we're talking to you. We know you. We know what you did to the Kennedys. You guys, he never had a worm in his head. You guys planted that information. Because what you did to his dad, and you're like, remember? We're going to put a worm in your head, bitch.
Put a bullet in Dad Uncle's head.
Yeah. Now we're going to put a worm in yours. It was just symbolism. There was never actually a worm, they were telling you.
I mean, this is twice now you've lost to a guy who shits his pants regularly.
Like, on stage, though. Like, Biden shits his pants, too. But, at least he doesn't grunt like a little baby in the corner, like, mm. Like, that's what my toddler did.
And what you could really learn from this, you should have let Bernie win. He would have beat him twice. And we'd be in a much different situation.
But then again, at the same time, what you really should have learned was... No, what you really should have learned that we're not okay with watching a Holocaust. We don't want to watch a genocide. We don't want to watch Auschwitz
2.0.
Yeah, I mean, literally. Oh, I'm sorry. They're not tattooing numbers on their arms. They're doing it on their foreheads. Because, I don't even want to say that. At least you could roll your sleeves down. You can't really cover your face. The only way to remove numbers at that point is to just horribly disfigure yourself.
Yeah. She wouldn't it.
I'm just saying, Germany going over there and be like, I like what you're doing here with your genocide. We should have learned from you guys. Or we taught you guys well. I'm just saying, Germany, maybe you should just stay in Germany right now instead of being over there something that...
Germany touch grass, your coat.
I do find that kind of hilarious. They're like, yeah, you absolutely have the right to defend yourself.
Yeah.
We should have defended ourselves harder.